never get over somebody doing this to my niece.
Oh, Lord. I look 6 months, too. Girl, what you supposed to look? 2? Oh, Lord. I'm finna get off here. I told Kira.
On June 29, 2020, Fort Worth police made a chilling discovery. The body of 26-year-old Dariani Burley, 6 months pregnant with twins, abandoned in Mansfield, Texas. She'd been shot execution-style in the back of the head. Not long before this, she had been celebrating life, a young mother-to-be who had recently held a gender reveal party surrounded by family and friends, glowing with the promise of raising her twin boys. The man behind her final moments was someone she trusted most, her longtime partner, Maurice Smith. But the deeper investigators dug, the clearer it became that this was no sudden snap of anger. What they uncovered was darker than anyone expected. This is the life and death of Dariani Burley.
Got it. You get whatever it is I need. Say, little butt. Say, little butt.
What, boy?
Say, little butt.
Fort Worth, often called Cowtown, is a city rich in history and culture. Known for its cattle drives and Western heritage, it has the charm of tradition, but also the struggles of modern urban life. Crime and violence shadow its streets as much as prosperity and opportunity shape them. For Dariani, who was born and raised there on July 14, 1993, Fort Worth was home, the place where her dreams of motherhood began, and where they would also come to a tragic end. Dariani Sherelle Burley was born on July 14, 1993, in Fort Worth, Texas, to Olga King Burley and Daryl Burley. She was the fourth of 6 children in a large, close-knit family, and she carried herself with warmth and determination, always striving to make her parents and siblings proud. Friends remembered her as someone with simple hopes, but an extraordinary heart. A young woman who wanted nothing more than to build a better future for herself and those she loved. Education was part of that path. After finishing school in Fort Worth, she went on to attend Connors State College in Muskogee, Oklahoma, where she earned her associate's degree. School and work were stepping stones in her journey, and she poured effort into both. She had ambitions of creating stability, of building something lasting, and she believed she was on the path to do just that. It seemed she was headed toward a bright and steady future, determined to carve out something good for herself. But everything would change when she crossed paths with a man whose presence would alter the course of her life forever. That man was the 32-year-old Maurice Smith, and their relationship quickly became a defining part of her adult life. Their bond stretched over years and carried both moments of joy and painful lows. They had met in high school, and ever since they had been in an on-off relationship. Despite the clear toxicity of their relationship, Dariani clung to the love she believed existed and to the promise of a future she hoped they could build together. But there was one problem. Dariani wasn't just stuck in an on and off relationship. She was also involved with a dangerous man. Maurice Smith's past carried shadows of crime and violence that she could not yet see. Years earlier, he had been convicted of burglary of a habitation in 2017, and then again in 2019 for unlawful possession of a firearm. These convictions revealed a pattern, a glimpse into the kind of danger that quietly followed him. But it doesn't end there. He also had a history of drug abuse, something that would only worsen his violent tendency. Dariani's family and friends saw only the surface, the smiles, the celebrations, the image of a young couple preparing for twins.
I hate these fucking twist-on earrings.
Me too. At least you know they're real.
Hi, King. Babe. Hi, King. I need you. Let me see your lip gloss. Oh, let me get this blue. How Hey, She so goddamn extra. Why did she do that? Hey,
But behind that mask was a man whose life had already been marred by crime. What Dariani did not realize was that she was stepping deeper into the orbit of someone with a history of reckless choices and violent tendencies. And it was only a matter of time before that history caught up with them both. Despite these shadows, Dariani held on to her relationship with Maurice. To her, there were still moments of laughter, companionship, and hope, glimpses of the future she wanted to believe in. Their connection was complicated, marked by breakups and reconciliations, but it eventually brought them to a point that should have been a beautiful celebration. Dariani got pregnant with twins. When she discovered she was pregnant with twins, the news felt like a new beginning, a chance to put the struggles of the past behind them and focus on building a family. The pregnancy brought a sense of renewal, a hope that perhaps things could truly change for the better. That sense of hope came alive during the gender reveal party in May 2020. Family and friends gathered as the couple learned they were having 2 boys. Photos and videos from that day captured Dariani glowing with happiness, joking about her growing belly and sharing her excitement online. It seemed, at least in that moment, that love and promise had overcome all the darkness that had come before. She dreamed of raising her sons in love, often writing about how she wanted them to grow up without knowing struggle or pain. For those who saw her then, Dariani seemed unstoppable. But behind the celebrations, not everything was as perfect as it appeared. Maurice's past did not remain in the past. His violent tendencies lingered, quietly woven into his nature. To outsiders, he seemed like the excited father-to-be, smiling at gatherings and standing proudly beside Dariani. But beneath that mask, the darker side of him was beginning to stir again, restless and dangerous. By early June of 2020, those shadows broke through the surface. Maurice assaulted Dariani while she was carrying their babies, an act that left scars not easily seen, but deeply felt. It was a glimpse into the turmoil that had always followed him, and a warning of what was still to come. The hope of new life was colliding with the weight of his past. The man who had celebrated with Dariani now showed the side of himself that could not be contained, a side that would bring devastating consequences. The stage was being set, quietly but steadily, for everything to fall apart.
Who pretty? Where?
Don't joke with me. With you, joke with you. Goddamn me, live life, baby. You hear me?
Don't start.
And on the morning of June 29, 2020, the unthinkable happened. That day began like any other day in Fort Worth. For Dariani, 6 months pregnant with twins, her focus should have been on the small movements in her belly, on the plans for her future, on the excitement of meeting her boys. But instead, the day would end with her life and theirs, cut short in an act of violence so senseless it would send shockwaves through her family and community. That morning, Dariani and Maurice Smith went about what seemed like a normal routine. They stopped at a Waffle House in Fort Worth, grabbing a late-night meal together. To outsiders, nothing appeared unusual. But beneath the surface, tension was building. Their relationship, already strained, had begun to collapse under the weight of Maurice's drug use, violent tendencies, and deepening instability. What should have been a quiet, ordinary meal became the beginning of a tragedy. As they left the restaurant, events took a horrifying turn. Maurice had recently acquired a firearm with the help of a friend, since as a convicted felon, he was barred from purchasing one himself. That weapon was now in his possession, as he drove Dariani away from the Waffle House. Somewhere between the parking lot and the road ahead, a decision was made, one that would forever alter the lives of everyone who loved her. Without warning, Maurice pulled the gun and fired. The bullet struck Dariani in the back of her head, ending not only her life, but also the lives of the twin boys she carried. In an instant, the promise of a young mother's future was gone, extinguished by the very man she trusted most.
Mansfield now. Police there say that they have arrested a man who shot and killed his girlfriend, who was pregnant with twins. This all happened on Monday, we're told, after her body was found in a vehicle along Highway 287. 28-year-old Maurice Smith is now facing a capital murder charge, along with separate aggravated robbery as well as burglary charges.
But Maurice's cruelty did not stop there. With Dariana's lifeless body in the car, he drove to Mansfield, Texas. Instead of seeking help, instead of facing what he had done, he committed yet another crime. There he robbed a woman at gunpoint, adding another layer of violence to an already unthinkable act. Only then did he abandon Dariani's body in Mansfield, leaving her behind as though she was disposable. The horror deepened as Maurice tried to erase his tracks. He switched vehicles, attempting to conceal evidence. Back at his residence, detectives would later find him frantically destroying clothing and other items linked to the murder. Yet no matter how desperate his efforts, the truth could not be hidden. Blood-stained clothes and the murder weapon tied him directly to the crime. By the time law enforcement closed in, Maurice's behavior spiraled further into deception. When confronted with the weight of what he had done, he pretended to suffer from memory loss, claiming intoxication and disorientation. Authorities, cautious of the possibility of overdose, transported him to a hospital for evaluation, but there his charade unraveled. Doctors quickly determined he was faking his symptoms, a ploy to stall and manipulate. Even in the hospital, Maurice's actions revealed his state of mind. Handcuffed to the bed, he tried to pick the lock and escape. His every move reflected not remorse, but a desperate attempt to evade responsibility. For Dariani's family, the news was devastating. In the span of a single morning, they lost a daughter, a sister, and the unborn children they had eagerly awaited. The shock was unbearable, the cruelty unimaginable. Their grief was compounded by the knowledge that this wasn't a random act of violence. It came from the very person who was supposed to love and protect her. The investigation left no doubt. Maurice Smith was arrested and charged with capital murder.
Why did she call you that this morning like that? What started that?
I was smoking again too.
This morning before then, huh? Even before you went to your sister's then, right?
Yeah, I was smoking.
Okay.
So when I got out of the car, man, finished out my stick, across the freeway, smoking my stick.
And we want to talk to you about what happened, why you was in Mansfield today. The reason I'm asking because you definitely talked to a woman today who saw you in Mansfield.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're trying to figure out what happened in Mansfield. You had some car problems. You had a fight with your girlfriend, your spouse, I'm sorry. So I'm trying to figure out what happened here in Mansfield, what's going on here in Mansfield.
I'm trying to figure it out too.
And yet this was only the beginning of the fight for justice. The road ahead would be long, marked by painful testimony and haunting reminders of what had been taken from them. When the case went to trial, Maurice's dark history resurfaced. His prior convictions, burglary of a habitation in 2017 and unlawful possession of a firearm in 2019, revealed a man already steeped in crime. Prosecutors showed how his drug abuse and his assaults against Darian formed a dangerous pattern leading directly to the murder. In court, Maurice tried to claim that Darian had insulted him by calling him a junkie during an argument, insisting he did not kill her. But his defense could not stand against the overwhelming evidence. Witnesses, forensic proof, and his own actions before and after the crime left no doubt in the minds of the jury. The verdict was swift and decisive.
So all of this extra, I've got a detachment. I've read what's been going on in the newspaper. My daughter has read that to me. So I have a detachment. And I do not support him in this. I'm his mother and he's mine. Whichever way that this goes, I have prepared myself for life without parole, and I have asked God to prepare me for the death penalty. So whichever way that this goes, I will forever bear this.
Wow.
I will forever, my family will forever bear this. So either way this goes, whatever choices were made were choices that both of them had counseling from both sides of the family.
Maurice Smith was convicted of capital murder. The jury sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the community, it was a moment of justice, but for Darion's family, it was a hollow victory. No sentence, no matter how severe, could undo the loss of their daughter, sister, and friend, or the unborn twins whose lives ended before they began. In the courtroom, Darion's family spoke of their grief. They remembered her not as the victim of a brutal crime, but as a vibrant young woman filled with hope. Her mother, siblings, and loved ones described her as someone determined to create a better life for her children, someone whose joy had been stolen in the cruelest way possible. Their words were heavy with sorrow, but also with strength, a reminder that Darion's life mattered and that her story would not be silenced. Her death left a mark on the community. It forced many to confront the dangers of domestic violence and the devastating consequences when warning signs are ignored or minimized. Darion's story became part of a larger conversation about protecting women, supporting those trapped in cycles of abuse, and holding perpetrators fully accountable. On April 19, 2023, family and friends gathered to honor Darion at her funeral services. The ceremony was held at Edgefield Town Gym in South Carolina, followed by her burial at Sunset Gardens Memorial Cemetery in Johnston. The day was a painful farewell, but also a testament to the love that surrounded her. Even in her absence, her memory brought people together, united in mourning, but also in the determination to keep her legacy alive. Darion's story is a tragic reminder of how quickly love can turn into violence and how lives filled with hope can be destroyed in an instant. It shows the urgent need to break the silence around domestic abuse and to protect those most vulnerable. Her life, though cut short, continues to echo as a warning, but also as a call for change. For those who knew her, Darion will always be remembered as a daughter, a sister, and a soon-to-be mother who should have had the chance to raise her twin boys. For the world, her story stands as a heartbreaking example of betrayal, violence, and the cost of ignoring the signs that someone is in danger. This is the life and death of Darion Burley, a young woman who deserved so much more and whose story must never be forgotten. What do you think about this case? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories.